Hello, and welcome back to Strike Fighters 2 Vietnam. Following the career of Lieutenant Commander Devin Horner flying F-8 Crusaders off the USS Hancock with VF-211, the Flying Checkmates. You join us here today on March 10th, 1966, and after the heart-pounding 3 aerial victories last mission, now we're back on a strike mission today, heading up into Nam Dinh to destroy a warehouse. Call sign will be Anvil. We'll have 2 Crusaders. Takeoff time will be 9:30 in the morning. For our loadout today, we've got the AIM-9 Delta Sidewinders. If you recall, those are the upgraded Navy version of the Sidewinders. The Bravo being the original version. The Delta has the better avionics, the better engines, and also that expanding rod warhead, if you remember that. That's where it throws out a circle of shrapnel and cuts planes in half. So, and then we've also loaded up, we've switched out our 500-pound bombs, and I've loaded 8 750-pound bombs on each of the aircraft, so both Anvil 1 and 2. Looking at our map, we can see that we're going up deep into actual North Vietnam today, up into this area here, Nam Dinh, excuse me. I think that's the city here. Here's Haiphong, and then Hanoi downtown is right up here, along with the MiG-17 and MiG-21 squadrons up by Phu Quyen. So initial point will be at 6,000 feet today, and we should be able to target in about 14 minutes. We do have a Marshall point here because we've got, who is this, VF-162 off the Oriskany. They're additional Crusaders who will be escorting us, so we can expect to see them hooking up with us around here, around the rendezvous point. And finally, looking at the roster, we're taking Ensign Dixon with us today, who will be in Anvil 2. And he's got 10 missions under his belt with 6 ground kills. 96 skill, though, and 89 experience, so, and 100% morale, so he's doing pretty good. His condition is only 80, but compared to the last campaign, where everyone's condition was like 100, everyone's a little banged up, or maybe just, fatigued. Maybe a little tired, not getting the best rest they could, but Dixon looks pretty good, especially for being an ensign. He seems to be head and shoulders above all the other ensigns, so yeah, we'll be happy to have him along with us today. And there we have it. Me and Dixon are now going to head up to the flight deck, and we'll see you up there as we prep our Crusaders and then get blasted off into the Vietnam sky. And a successful launch off the catapults there of our new ship, the Hancock. Bringing back the throttle to bring that afterburner off. And we'll get our radar on. So one thing I did in preparation for this mission was I turned some of the graphics back up. I had turned down shadows and the particle effects on the weapons. And because they were really slowing the frame rate down, that just kind of looks shitty for video purposes. But I turned them back up to medium, both of those, because they were really low. So I'm hoping that medium will be a nice middle ground, and things will look good without slowing things down too much. But I noticed that with cluster bombs, even on the lowest setting, cluster bombs were still causing a freaking frame slowdown. So, I mean, if they're just going to do it anyways, I might as well turn it up so they look a little bit better. So I turned up some graphic settings. Hopefully not to the detriment of the game and the video. Our new ship has an interesting connection to our old ship. The USS Hancock was originally named the Ticonderoga when her keel was first laid down. The ship was being built in Quincy, Massachusetts, which is just south of Boston, and because of this, the John Hancock Life Insurance Company approached the Navy with a proposition, offering to raise the money through a special war bond drive if the ship was renamed the John Hancock. Since the government was mostly bankrupt by the war at that point, they were willing to take any help they could. The Ticonderoga was renamed the Hancock, and down in Newport News shipyards, down in Virginia, the ship that was originally called the Hancock was then switched to Ticonderoga, and that was the ship that we just finished deploying on. The insurance company raised so much money that they were able to pay for the Hancock's entire construction and operate it for the first year. The ship, and the insurance company, was of course named for John Hancock, one of the influential founding fathers of the American Revolution. Born in Quincy, Massachusetts, he became the president of the Second Continental Congress, presiding over the proceedings that drafted the Declaration of Independence, and later he would be the governor of Massachusetts twice. He is most remembered by the public as having the largest signature on the Declaration of Independence, leading to the use here in America of the term John Hancock to mean one's signature. The popular story is that Hancock signed his name so large as a giant middle finger to King George, so that George could, quote, see it without his spectacles on, but this story appeared years after the event. More likely, Hancock, as president of the Congress, signed it first and just didn't have a sense of scale from any other signatures to compare it to. The USS Hancock was commissioned in May of 1944. She was an Essex-class carrier, and so had the same dimensions of the USS Ticonderoga. She was 27,000 tons, 888 feet long, with a draft of 28 feet. Her flight deck was 55 feet above the water. With 8 boilers and 4 shafts, she could make 33 knots. Ship's complement was 3,500 men. After a shakedown cruise and additional fitting out in Boston, she arrived on station near the Philippines by October as part of Task Force 38, where she took part in air raids against Leyte, Okinawa, Formosa, and Luzon that severely damaged the Japanese. Task Force 38 was commanded by Vice Admiral John McCain, whose grandson, John McCain III, flew A-4 Skyhawks here in Vietnam starting in 1967. McCain was in the middle of the epic flight deck fire on board the USS Forrestal that killed 137 sailors, and had transferred to the USS Oriskany when he was shot down over Vietnam and became a prisoner of war. McCain III is currently a senator from Arizona and ran for president in 2008 to be defeated by Barack Obama. In a foreshadowing of her future deployments, USS Hancock was stationed in the Gulf of Tonkin in January of 1945 and actually struck airfields in Saigon and targets along the Vietnam coast. She finished out the war launching air raids and shooting down kamikaze aircraft all over the Western Pacific. On the day of Japan's surrender, on 15 of August 1945, Hancock recalled her aircraft before they struck their targets on the Japanese mainland. However, 3 of her photo recon planes were shot down by Japanese fighters who refused to surrender. Later, in the same afternoon, her planes shot down a Japanese torpedo plane that was diving on a British task force. After the war, Hancock performed several Operation Magic Carpet cruises, transporting men and machines back home from various Pacific locations. She was decommissioned in May of 1947 and went to the inactive reserve fleet in Bremerton, Washington, not making any deployments during the Korean War. Instead, in 1951, she underwent the SCB-27 program upgrades, becoming the first American carrier to be outfitted with steam catapults, which, again, were a Royal Navy innovation. In 1956, she received her angled flight deck. Also during that year, Elvis Presley was filmed on board in San Diego for the Milton Berle Show. In 1960, Hancock was part of the Communication Moon Relay Project, an interesting and unique demonstration of sending information by bouncing ultra-high frequency waves off of the moon. USS Hancock made Vietnam tours almost every year of the war from 1965 until 1975, when her air wing was ordered off and Marine Heavy Lift Squadron 463 came aboard with all helicopters. Hancock and her Marines evacuated Americans and Allies out of Cambodia on 12 April during Operation Eagle Pull, and 2 weeks later evacuated more from Saigon as the city fell on the 29th and 30th of April during Operation Frequent Wind. Hancock was decommissioned for the final time in January of 1976, and by 1977 was being torn down in the Los Angeles shipyards. Ironically, some of the scrap metal was sold to Japan to manufacture automobiles. Over her extensive career, Hancock earned 12 Navy unit citations, 4 battle stars, 6 Armed Forces Expeditionary Medals, 3 Meritorious Unit Commendations, the Vietnam Service Medal, and the Republic of Vietnam Meritorious Unit Citation. In addition, the ship was awarded 2 Humanitarian Service Medals for the evacuation operations of Eagle Pull and Frequent Wind. She was the 5th and last ship to be named for John Hancock.
Red Crown, Wolfpack lead, passing waypoint 5. Wolfpack 1, Red Crown, copy that. Back.
There's the coast just off to our left.
Bandit. Red Crown, hold, please. Approaching target. 5 minutes out.
We heard those incessant calls from Red Crown as soon as we took off. There's like 4 flights of MiGs out here. Now, you can see we're a bomb truck today. There's those M117s that we're humping in. That is our primary objective, is to drop those bombs. So I'm going to avoid air combat as much as possible. Basically, I'm only going to jettison those bombs unless... Oh, the only time I will... Oh, here they come, 25 miles out. The only time I'm going to jettison those bombs is if we get directly engaged and we have to outmaneuver those MiGs. But for the most part, our escorts need to be taking care of that. Of course, I don't even know where they are right now. We don't seem to have any escorts with us. We're kind of alone here. Well, somebody's engaging something, though. So let's change our radar range to 20 miles so we can see we have some sort of cluster directly ahead of us, about 15 miles just to the left. 15 miles out just to the left of our nose.
Red Crown, Shroud lead, approaching target 5 minutes out. Mamba 1, Red Crown, copy. Bandit.
And we're coming into the delta of this river. There's a bunch of shipping down there. Down to our right. Transporting cargo in and out. We can just start to see the city itself up there, ringing the river. Let's see. Let's set our bomb quantities and select those bombs. So they're ready to go because we are. Let's see here. Oh.
Direct hit. Anvil lead. Red Crown. Multiple bandits. Left 9 o'clock. 10 miles. Angel 10. Heading southwest. Fox 2.
Oh, they're awful close.
Fox 2.
Okay, so this warehouse of ours, the target is actually right downtown in the middle of this city. I think it's actually right near, right there. There's that shipyard. Right, boom, under the pipper. Alright, so it's actually right to the left. There's that big, there's a tank farm there and some big old warehouses. Holy shit, we got a SAM launch. Where the fuck from? Oh, right there at 11 o'clock. Jesus Christ. Hey, wingman. Oh, I can't tell him to brake. He'll dump all of his bombs. Attack my target. Okay, stage 1 is complete. That's when they're unguided. Now it's just, it's ejected this first stage, and second stage is initiated, which is when it starts locking. Oh, I don't even have a tone that they've locked onto me, though. Do I have any chaff? Negative. Fuck you. Alright, there's those goddamn warehouses. Let's get rid of these bombs, man. And there goes that SAM streaking over Ensign Dixon. High and to the right, going ballistic. Luckily not tracking on anything, as Dixon's rolling in on the target. Jesus, another SAM? Oh, fuck. It's coming from the back left. Let's see, let's try to outmaneuver it. Fuck, there it comes. Holy shit! That's like a fucking telephone pole going right by the canopy.
And the lead. Red Crown. Mission accomplished. Good job.
Excellent.
You got a bandit in your 6 o'clock.
Alright, let's drop these guys in. Got those bombs selected. Doing 350 knots. I don't want to get too low. Bombs away. Yes! There's Dixon. Rejoin Mr. Dixon. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's an F-105. Awesome. I like F-105s. Here's one of the two Iron Hand F-105s firing rockets at the SAM site that's over to our left. Taking care of that radar, I think.
I got one! Fox 2. Red Crown.
Let's see if there's any fighters in our immediate vicinity.
Copy. Handle 1. Red Crown. Multiple bandits. Right 1 o'clock. 15 miles. Angel 5.
Alright, that's right off of our nose.
Target here.
Right out there somewhere.
Fox 2. Fox 1.
Ensign Dixon, return to formation.
Roger. Return to formation. Flash, 1 bandit.
Oh, there we go. Looks like I got 2 blips on my radar. Those are those J5s directly ahead. A little bit of flak coming up. No problems there. Where are those? Looks like 2 targets. Oops. Didn't mean to go to bore sight mode. There we go. I wanted to select the lead. There we go. Then we're going to tell Ensign Dixon, I think, to attack this guy, and then I will retarget his wingman. So we'll break up our flight and try to attack both targets at once.
Roger that. I've got your target.
Lovely.
On the way.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's... Oh, man. Oh, that's more than 2 targets. That's a flight of 4. Oh, okay. I've got my AIM-9Ds selected. You can hear the growl going. Oh, that's... Oh, they're coming right for me. This is a head-on pass. I'm gonna give them some guns. Oh! Holy shit! Oh my god, I'm smoking. I've been hit. But I definitely clipped that guy in the right wing as we passed. Alright. We're getting help now from Red Crown. This is more aircraft than I thought there was. Something's wrong with this airplane. She's handling really weird. This guy's maybe leaving the area. I've got tone. Anvil 1, Fox 2. Gotcha, sucker. All right. That's 1 down. The odds are a little more even. Oh, somebody else got a kill right off of our 11 o'clock there. There's another J5. Oh, there's a missile streaking in. Missing behind him. I've got tone. Fox 2. Oh, another missile in from the... Oh! And somebody else got him. Is my missile still going to hit? Yes. Whew. Right by that Vietnamese pilot. So the missile hit, but of course the plane was already shot down, so that doesn't give me the kill. Alright, that's 2 down. We've got friends here. We need to bug out and go home, because I'm severely damaged. Jesus Christ, we're missing a stabilator. Alright, we're gonna go hide up in the clouds here. Try to get Ensign Dixon to rejoin with us. My autopilot's shot out. Can't engage it. And the plane is constantly pitching up. We have a constant tendency to want to nose up. So... Alright, Ensign Dixon is not damaged. So that's good. I think we're both separating from the fight successfully, and we've got friendly fighters taking care of the remnants of those MiGs. Jeez, look at that. I'm just missing a freaking stabilator. The right stabilator is just gone. And this engine is smoking like a chimney, so God knows what happened. Maybe we freaking lost a couple of compression stages, or maybe we got some FOD in the intake and it knocked out some turbine blades. This engine is definitely toast, but it's not failing. I don't have a firelight, and it's still producing power, so I've come up to this high altitude, so if it does flame out, I can at least coast a couple thousand feet down and get a few miles out to sea, where I should be able to eject safely if necessary. Well, I've set the engine for cruise power at 6,000 pounds per hour, and we'll switch to ground radar and start looking for our fleet. Man, I should have known better than to go head-to-head. I hate doing that. I learned my lessons with that years ago on the 1994 game Pacific Air War, and then its follow-up, the European Air War, which was, oh god, was that Microprose or Activision? I can't remember now. But, yeah, mid-90s air combat games. I think kind of this game is kind of a spiritual successor to that. It's kind of the same open campaign, you know, missions, flying multiple aircraft kind of setup, procedurally generated missions as you proceed through a career. I think that's why I like this game so much, because it's so close to those early games that I played, you know, as a late teenager. I graduated high school in 2000, so I was playing those games through my high school years and maybe even a little bit of junior high. But man, every time head-on pass I'd either collide with the other planes or we would shoot each other down, and I hate doing it. And again, it just kind of happened here. Maybe my eyes were a little bit bigger than my stomach. The radar only showed 2 blips, so I thought we'd be evenly matched. Me and Dixon could take them on, and then as we got closer, it turns out that those 2 blips turned into 4, and then 3 of those bastards turned towards me in a head-on. So that was scary. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm freaking lucky to be alive, and now I've got a severely damaged Crusader that I'm going to have to put down on the deck somehow. And I have no autopilot, and the plane does not want to level itself very well. There we go. We're coming out under the clouds.
I've got a spy.
Headed back to the Hancock.
Red Crown, Trout lead, passing waypoint 7. Trout 1.
We can see a bunch of the other squadrons. They're all on their way back in also. We got our first taste of SAM action today. That was scary and unexpected. I wonder if there's no radar receiving unit in these Crusaders, which would be odd because even the Sky Raiders had them. You know, they were going off in our ears all the time, but there was none of that in this, and suddenly several SAMs fired at us. The SA-2 surface-to-air missile, that Russian thing that the Vietnamese use. The first 7 seconds, it's ballistic. When it just launches, the first stage propels it up for 7 seconds, and then the first stage detaches, and then when that releases, the second stage can fire, and it also uncovers the radar receiver, so that's when the radar starts receiving tracking information from the ground station, because they're semi-active homing missiles. They don't track themselves, they need that radar to be on. So one, you've got a couple seconds from when you see it launch to maybe position, and then 2, if you can shut that radar down somehow, either by blowing it up or, you know, shooting a Shrike missile at it or some other missile that causes the operator to turn it off, then all missiles will lose their lock. In this case, we just were able to outmaneuver a couple of them, and then those F-105s came in and either blew up the fire control radar, or maybe hit the sights. I'm not sure what they were shooting at exactly. And here we are limping home. Again, this Crusader just wanting to constantly pitch up and also roll kind of all over the place. Now we're up here, we're at over 4, we're like at 425 knots. I'm a little afraid of what's going to happen when we slow down to landing speed. You know, we got to get down to 150 knots to put this thing down on the deck. Am I going to be able to control this airplane when it gets that slow? Also, what's going to happen if I lower the flaps and raise the incident's wing? Should I make a no-flap landing? Just come in really fast and try to set it down on the deck. Not try to change the aerodynamics, because what if it makes the plane unstable, right? No, you know what? I think we're just going to... We're just going to attempt a normal landing. Shit. Okay, here's the game plan. We're going to go in. Oh, here's Ensign Dixon. He's just on his own heading back to the ship, so that's good. No damage on him. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a normal approach to the ship with full flaps. And if the plane goes unstable, we're just going to punch out and be right amongst the fleet. And it'll be fine. We'll just scratch this aircraft off. But I'm going to try to make a normal landing.
And the lead.
Okay, and now we're on final already. So, hook is out. I don't think in this damaged state we should worry about the overhead 360. So I'm going to cut the throttle, and we're going to try to just get lined up right on the glide slope, and get those air brakes out, and slow down the aircraft for landing configuration. Oh shit, we're a little bit closer than I thought, though. Oh, we're still at 300 knots. And we're only 2 miles from the ship. I got the needle centered for the carrier landing system.
Box 1.
Trying to get that speed down. We're still above 200. I can't get the gear down. No, this is too dangerous. I'm going around. Not going to compound one mistake with another one. That's going to kill me. We'll just... The plane's flying all right. We're just smoking like a bitch. We're going to do the... We're going to fly the pattern. There we go. And we're slow enough for gear to come down. And to put those flaps up. Or flaps down, I mean. Flaps down, wing up. Okay. All right, she's controllable, but man, I'm having some issues. I'm full deflection back on the elevator. You can see there.
He's going down in flames.
Oh, just trying to hold it stable, and she's definitely skidding through the sky with some, oh boy, with some issues. All right, 170 knots. Rolling out on final. Needles are centering. Enville 1 has the ball.
I see them.
I'm afraid of sinking, but I gotta get the speed down a little bit because we're gonna run out of deck with this little ass ship. All right, coming in. Pretty good, looking good, and caught the wires. Using those wheel brakes as an assist, and we've made it back safely to the USS Hancock. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna fold this plane up, and I'm gonna turn off the engine before we freaking explode on the deck or something. There we go. Engine is secured. We're safely on the deck. Ensign Dixon's on his way in. He's going to land safe and sound as well. So, that was an interesting one. Well, I'll see you down below for the debriefing, and we'll quickly go over the results of this mission. See you down there. All right. Lucky to be back in one piece. Whew, let's take a look at the outcome of this mission here. So we hit our warehouse. We hit a bunch of those warehouses, actually. This was a 33-minute long mission. Primary target was destroyed. One additional enemy aircraft was destroyed. One F-8 was damaged. For a success, score of 750, no remarks. Looking at the stats, here I am. I fired 52 rounds from my Mark 12 cannons, and I hit that son of a bitch as he passed me by. Didn't knock him down, though, but he got me as well. Got 2 kills with our bombs, and also 2 hits with the Sidewinders, although the second hit was I hit a burning aircraft, so I did not get the kill for that. And there's Ensign Dixon with two kills. So we're up to 4 air-to-air after 36 missions. And that was a brush with death. But thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time for more flying and fighting with VF-211.